My guest is Dr. Melissa Hill, board-certified pediatrician and a fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Dr. Hill is with Morris Hospital and Healthcare Centers and sees patients at 1306 Gemini Circle in Ottawa. We want to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 vaccine in a general sense. Why should people get this vaccine?
Well, so the overall purpose of a vaccine is twofold. I'm a pediatrician, and so I talk to people about vaccines all the time. But the purpose really is to protect the person who is receiving the vaccine from the illness, as well as to protect the greater community at large. So when enough people are immune to the disease, that provides a community benefit that people who are vulnerable or at high risk of getting the disease won't get the disease, or will be protected even if they can't get the vaccine. There's also that benefit to self, and especially with COVID-19, that you'll be able to avoid some of not only the mortality of the disease, but the morbidities of the disease. So some people will have lung disease, long-lasting heart problems, maybe some brain fog, or simply loss of taste and smell. I have some parents who are still complaining months later that they can't fully taste or smell.
Yeah, I've seen that. Actually, I've seen some social media posts from people who've been, 3-4 months past all the symptoms of COVID-19, and they still are having those issues as well. We know that the vaccine was kind of put on the fast track to get something cranked out so people could start getting vaccinated. That also has raised some concerns from people who are like, oh, wait a minute, do I really want this vaccine right now? So what would you say to someone or say to a parent about vaccine safety?
Well, so each vaccine you have to take individually and look at the data coming from each vaccine. So the two vaccines that were given emergency authorization from the CDC and the FDA have really good safety data. Now, you mentioned that some people are concerned about how quickly this vaccine was created, but if you look at the mRNA vaccines, which is the two that we have, they've really been studied for the last 10 years, so the last decade, and we have the basis of the technology from all the research that was done, SARS. So they were able to have the ability to kind of create this plug-and-play type of vaccine where we had the genetic code for COVID-19 back in January, so about a year ago, and they were able to identify very early on the mRNA sequence that creates that spike protein on the outside of COVID-19. And so the actual vaccine didn't take them long to create. Really what's taken the greatest amount of time is going through those phase 1, 2, and 3 trials. And they were able to do that very efficiently because they had the funding. And also, between the two vaccines that we have, there were 75,000 volunteers who signed up for the phase 3 trials. Typically, that takes a ton of time to recruit people, to convince people to get a vaccine. But when you have a need, people are willing to step up and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. The phase 3 trial that really tells you what are going to be some of the side effects, what are going to be the outcomes for this. We really had to have that 2 months worth of data because you're going to see the most side effects within the first 6 weeks after getting the vaccine, and then they're going to continue to follow these volunteers for the next 2 years. But the safety data is really good. Now, there's no virus in these vaccines. The technology is really cool. It's literally just the little piece of mRNA that codes for the protein with a little fat bubble around it and some salt water, and that's about it. There's no preservatives in it, and nothing else that helps your body kind of act as an adjuvant, so really nothing else in it. And then when the mRNA enters your body, it mimics what the virus does. So when the virus enters your body, it uses your own cells. It enters your cells. It uses your own cells to make more of it. And so the mRNA is just that little piece of genetic material. Your body makes that protein, and then your immune system says, hey, you don't belong here, and is able to then create those antibodies, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, neat. Now, you touched on it. What about side effects? Of course, we all know, with pharmaceuticals, there's all sorts of side effects that maybe some people can experience. What would side effects would they be for someone maybe who maybe's had round 1 of their vaccination?
Well, so most commonly for round one was local side effects, so like redness, swelling, tenderness at the site of injection. There are some people that had a few other things, vomiting, headaches, muscle aches, and fatigue, but that's really more common after the second round because your immune system is responding like we expect it to. So I've had both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer, and that really was my experience. The first vaccine, I had some soreness of my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the second one, I had about a day of fatigue and muscle aches, but nothing too bad, and I felt better by the next day.
All right. Well, now, being a pediatrician, can you explain why aren't children under 16 included in any of the vaccine distribution phases?
Well, children aren't included simply because they haven't been studied yet. So the trials are currently underway for children between the ages of 12 and 16, and then it'll go down from there. Children aren't just little adults, and so we need to know, is this safe for kids, and do we have the right dose for kids? And so children really should not receive a COVID vaccine until we have trials that prove that it's safe to do so.
All right. Well, I guess what for folks maybe now that we're into the 1B phase here locally, what do folks need to do next?
Well, you can reach out to your physician if you have any questions, and please ask your questions, get the answers you need, get vaccinated with confidence so that we can do what's right by and for our community. You can also check out the Morris Hospital website at www.morrishospital.org, and then there you'll find links to the CDC website as well as links to your local health departments, and local health departments are going to be the ones to really give us the information on how to sign up and how to get that COVID-19 vaccine.
All right, awesome. Well, Doctor, thanks for spending some time with us. Certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Dr. Melissa Hill, pediatrician with Morris Hospital and Healthcare Centers, with her office at 1306 Gemini Circle in Ottawa. Now, to learn more about the COVID-19 vaccine, you can go to the Morris Hospital website at morrishospital.org. You'll find important information about the vaccine and the phases as each county moves through the mass vaccination plan.